Hello and happy new year. Welcome back to the Rhetoric podcast as ever. And it has been 1 month since our last time we were here with our mini video essay documentary. But anyways, here we are, and this January 1st, 2026. And let's just jump right in. So in this video, we're going to kind of reflect on how much we got done this year and then set some goals for the upcoming calendar year and go over some stuff which, might be good or bad. So the first thing is I am done with my college applications. As many of you know, I am a high school senior, and therefore I will have a lot more time to work on this little pet project of mine. But let's get started. Let's go over some of the, laundry list of videos we have. And for those of you who are first time tuning in, hopefully you can find a video or two that's interesting. But speaking of, 34 episodes this year. Among other Let's Talks and such. So, let's just do a quick review of some of these bigger videos. Let's go to popular. So I didn't really realize how big this video got. So Thesis Fundamentorum, which is just fancy Latin. So this was a video where I explained basically how ideas built off being an antithesis, which I still can't say for some reason, of another idea are bound to fail if they don't make their own foundational values, which aren't simply contrarian to an initial one. So I used like federalism, for example, how anti-federalists had to actually transform, because you can't be an anti-federalist if federalism is no longer a thing. And such things as, atheists. You can't be an atheist if theism suddenly vanishes, because then you don't have anything left to go off of. Then obviously this one was about birth rates, my first video essay, which I'm honestly more proud of than the previous one. This took like 3 days of work. The other one took maybe about a day and a half. Will Gen Alpha be our last? This is about, just general trends, mental health issues, suicide rates, all that not cool stuff. This one, another controversial one, whether or not imperialism actually had a good legacy or not in different parts of the world, and it makes some arguments for either side. This one was fun. This is a anthropological view of why conservatives need to give up on traditional gender roles, because none of that works anymore since the advent of modern technology. Watch it if you're interested. This one's pretty self-explanatory. This one actually is a precursor to this one. This one I made recently. This was a lot basically about, why is the world so sterile? Kind of what also the most recent video essay is about. This is whether or not the government has to actually worry about what the private sector can do. And this was mainly about whether or not social media counted as like an addictive substance, which I think is a fairly good point depending on the way like the brain chemistry works with like addictive things. And just going down the list, pretty good videos here. Trump and optics, because, kind of controversial guy, but he makes it work. This is one of the old ones, which is like, not everyone can be a lawyer, doctor, engineer. This is more about how the right needs to fix its stuff with religion and fundamentalism, because it's shutting down a lot of people who would have joined the movement. This one is about how everything that, just because we're adding and making new things and making things more free doesn't mean it's necessarily good. So, nothing crazy. It's just one of the nuclears of future. This is the video essay I made a month ago. I definitely could have put more effort into this one, but hopefully, many, many, many good videos to come. This one was fun, but again, I didn't really get too many views on that one. And down here is all the Let's Talks, where I just kind of rant for like an hour or such. And then this one, I was very surprised flopped. This is more about how social media algorithms influence us. And then there's, what the hell, 15 views? I don't even remember making this video, bro. That's crazy. Okay, my microphone's fried there for some reason, but so these are some of the videos we made this year. So a lot of stuff. both leaning on the theoretical and not modern, but hopefully with some more time in this coming calendar year, I will be able to actually make videos more or less focused on contextualizing modern events, and then a few more videos on, I think this video deserves to be fleshed out into a video essay, maybe a bit more like the old one. And I think that's a good video to make because it's something that isn't being talked about too much nowadays. But hopefully I can find some time to work on that. Time which I definitely do have in the modern day. And yeah, there's not too much going on right now in the world that's specifically noteworthy. Perhaps a video on the Epstein files is warranted and why I think they're not going to ever get released. But otherwise, yeah, theory crafting live streams would be fun, but I do have a little laundry list of ideas here I want to go. So one thing is about unfalsifiability and bad faith arguments, which is kind of, like what that one video was about. Very bottom was shutting down discourse, which is unfalsifiable claims. But 15 views could definitely do the idea more justice. Better title maybe too. And then big family versus small family, which is an idea I've had for a while, just kind of brewing, which is more a comparison of Eastern versus Western philosophy on family life, and how I have this sneaking suspicion that if you ask someone in the Western world, including myself, of course, or the modernized Western world, whatever you want to call it, what family means to them, it'll be like the people around them, right? Like, more about there's a more human element. That's small family, whereas big family in the Eastern tradition is more a family as the abstract, right? Like quote unquote our ancestors, so to speak. And I think that has some sort of different way that influences society and the way people act across generations. And hopefully I can, eventually get enough juices flowing in my brain to really flesh that out. Cathedralism. Curtis Yarvin, very controversial guy, but I think he got this one thing right, which is the cathedral is an idea in which people come to the same conclusion, not through scientific methods, but with an idea of there being like a phantom of truth above everything else, leading people to try to virtue signal to the same thing, basically. It's a complicated concept, but I think he was possibly onto something. And then, not that one. That one's something else. And then I think another video about addressing a bunch of arguments for and against capitalism would be pretty interesting, especially when it comes to child labor and the other social effects. Because again, the tenets of capitalism are based on, again, like the world they're based on is far worse than we have now. Same thing as communism, funny enough. And the problems that it was once trying to solve have largely been solved and need to go further. But it also has, brought up some new issues. For example, like, again, the poorest person now is as rich as someone average in like 16 to 80 or something, right? Just even looking at like ownership in general. And then the totalitarianism paradox, which has a lot to do with conspiracy theory and how, if you were actually in a totalitarian state, you would never know because, first of all, the idea wouldn't be there. And I call it the 1984 paradox as well because the interesting about 1984, like if you talking about like meta in the story, no, I guess not meta, like if you're in the story, right? It's only, I guess it is, the story itself is meta because we're seeing it from someone who eventually loses his mind, right? And the truth is, if we're living in the world of 1984, absent the book itself, there is no way you would actually know something's wrong. And there is no concept of the self and realization. So talking about that and how, people think that they're onto something nowadays is just largely wrong. And even if they were right, we have no way of confirming it. Because again, if some people or the government is truly controlling the media, you think you would not, they're not so bad at this kind of thing where we would find out. And then, cognitive illiteracy. So this one is a theoretical what am I trying to do here? Separation between rationalization and reasonability, because a lot of people try to assume rational positions while they're trying to be reasonable. But in the pursuit of rationality, they lose their reasonability, even though reasonability is more attainable by humans than rationality, because we are by nature not rational beings or creatures. And outside of that, there's a few more ideas I'd like to talk about. But yeah, it's been a pretty eventful year. However many videos we have here, it's crazy we made it this far. The third one should have gone in here, but yeah, here we are. So, hope you enjoyed this little recap slash predictor for what's gonna come up this next coming year. If you have any ideas, suggestions, anything you'd like me to try to cover, please let me know. But in the meantime, it's been the Rhetoric Reviewed podcast.